Welcome to How to Run Profitable Retreats podcast, the podcast that guides you not to only host retreats that thrive financially, but also transform people's lives. I'm your host, Lainey Cavazos, and each week I bring you the best strategies and personal insights to help you create retreat experiences that transform lives, both your clients and your own. In our journey together, we'll dive into the secrets behind successful retreats, from crafting a unique atmosphere to mastering the logistics that ensure profitability. Whether you're tuning in for inspiring interviews with leading retreat experts or seeking actionable advice in our solo episodes, this podcast is your go-to resource for turning your retreat visions into reality. Don't miss out on any of our episodes and subscribe now. For more tools and a free guide on creating your own six-figure retreat business, visit theretreatplanner.com. Now let's get started and make your retreat dreams come true. All right, welcome to another episode of How to Run Profitable Retreats. And I'm so excited today to introduce you to Erin B. Haag. I hope I pronounced it properly.
It's okay. It's Haag.
Haag.
Haag. That's okay.
Haag. Perfect. All right. So Erin B. Haag, and she is a master on retreats, and she has such a special way to host them and to teach people how to become a retreat pro. And I'm just so excited to have her here because we share this common passion on how you actually need to profit when you're hosting retreats. And I have to say, I also love math as like her, and she's a self-proclaimed math nerd, right? So, and she's a serial entrepreneur, so you cannot go wrong with her. And she's a full-blooded Capricorn, mother of two, and she loves to travel. She loves wine and cheese, so you get to know a little bit more about her. And she has over 20 years of experience working intimately with numbers, metrics, and pricing for both large corporations and smaller privately owned business. And she has brought that into the space of retreats. So we're gonna talk about top 5 tips on how to run profitable retreats. And she has combined her advanced mathematical and understanding and unparalleled ability to interpret numbers to create pricing overhaul. And maybe we'll talk a little bit about that. But you know, like her thing is pricing, and I love pricing. So let's see where this takes us. And she has her proven method to really help you shift your mindset around money and math, very important, and to become profitable, right? So thank you so much for being here, Erin. And yeah, tell us a little bit about yourself, your journey, and like what inspired you to create everything that you
Yeah. Oh
created.
my goodness. Thank you so much for having me. We were saying before we started recording that you and I have had a lot of different like crossovers and intersections. And so it's nice to finally be here together recording this episode. So I know you brought up pricing overhaul, and I'll just say that it was from pricing overhaul where luxury and business retreats was born. So like you said, I'm a pricing expert. I created a method called pricing overhaul where I can work with any service-based business to overhaul their pricing for profitability. It's a mathematical formula. I've trademarked the method. There's a certification. You can get certified to become a certified pricing overhaul coach. And basically, we can take any service-based business and drop it into this mathematical formula to tell the owner exactly how much she has to charge in order to pay herself what she wants to pay herself and have a minimum 30% profit margin. So it was within that business where I decided to host my first client retreat. And it sold out immediately, and I made a lot of money from it. Well, of course, naturally, because I priced it based on my price and overhaul method. And then I was like, huh, this is interesting. Let me do this again. So before I even hosted my first one, I had my second retreat planned. And by the end of my first retreat, 100% of the attendees booked into my second retreat, which was 5 months later. And I was like, okay, there is something to this. And then, like, 6 sold out retreats later, with profit margins ranging between $25,000 and $50,000 each, I decided it was time to separate the businesses. And so now we have luxury in business retreats. And of course, because I'm a pricing expert and my passion is helping business owners actually make money And I'm not ashamed to say it. Like, yes, I get it. You host retreats because you want to provide a transformational experience to your clients, but also, and you need to get paid. So I am very unapologetic in my mission to get retreat hosts to actually turn this into a profitable business, and not just retreat hosts, but any pro in the industry, no matter what role you play, there is a way to maximize your profits in this business. And so that is what luxury and business retreats is. Outside of that, I am a native Floridian. I am a mom of two young girls. I've been married for almost 18 years, lover of world travel. I've got like the world map and a plane tattooed on my shoulder. Currently, I am in training to become a sommelier just for fun because I love wine. And yeah, that is me and what I do in a nutshell.
That's amazing. And I think I want to like really highlight, like really people do need to get paid for what they do. Like, because we're in the spiritual business, transformational business, however we want to name it and frame it, we sometimes tend to believe that it should be for free. And the reality is that how can someone, like, how can you ask someone to go and meditate if they're thinking about what they're going to eat next? And if they're doing so much deep transformation in the world, are they actually, if they go bankrupt, right? Are they actually being good?
Right. So I wrote a book called Give Yourself a Raise, the mindset and math you need to get to your first million. And in the first part of this book, I really break down those mindset blocks um, around pricing and profiting from your services. And one of the biggest things, like you said, is in order to serve others, you have to take care of yourself first. And you cannot pour from an empty cup. And so, if you are not making money and you are not profitable and you're trying to make yourself accessible to everybody, you're making yourself unaccessible. Is that a word? Or it's a disservice to you. So the first thing you have to do is you have to profit. There has to be, and if you believe in energy, there has to be an even energetic exchange. And that comes from being compensated fairly for what you are doing. But also, retreats aren't just for wellness professionals. And maybe this is why I am um, not ashamed of talking about the profit part of it, because yes, I work with retreat hosts who are in the wellness industry and who are healers, but a retreat can be for anything. I have copywriters who work with me who are putting together retreats for people to write their first book. I have business coaches who are putting retreats together for their clients. I have attorneys who are putting retreats together. Like, no matter what you do, you can do a retreat. And it isn't exclusive to the health, wellness, and spiritual communities.
No, we actually used to put retreats together for as marketing conferences for Marriott, for the corporate office that I used to work for, right? So it is not just for the wellness industry. Like the same way that not every retreat is a yoga retreat.
Right. Right, right. I work with a ton of yoga professionals. I used to own a Pilates and yoga studio. I owned it for 9 years, and I'm not going on a yoga retreat. Like, that's just not my cup of tea. But yoga retreats are highly popular by a certain type of, clientele and attendee. And so there is definitely a niche for that. It's really like finding specifically what your niche is, who your market is, and then crafting the perfect retreat experience for that group and making money doing it.
Don't forget that.
I can't let it go. I can't let it go.
Oh, thank you for this, because I know that everyone in the audience who's listening to this might have two reactions. The number one is, oh my gosh, yes, this sounds amazing. This is what I want. And the other part might be thinking, like the stomach kind of like going tight and be like, oh my gosh, am I supposed or able or am I worthy of actually charging and getting a profit from my business, right? And I have to give a shout out for your book because I read it. I told you I gifted it to a friend, and I'm sure I'm gonna gift it to more people because
Oh,
it's so
thanks.
so good. Like it really helps you break it down into super edible pieces, and it makes so much sense. So
Aw.
I would definitely recommend that you get her book, give yourself a raise because it is totally worth it. It's
Aw,
like,
thank
yeah,
you.
no, of course, like praise where it's meant to go, right?
Yes, thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
And we are both in the retreat industry. We love helping people like
Yeah.
run successful businesses, right? Like I help people create six-figure businesses with retreats and beyond,
Yeah.
right? And for me, it's so important. And I want to say also, like, revenue doesn't really matter. It's about the profitability.
Oh, yeah. Revenue is a vanity metric. I say it all the time. Like, I don't care how much revenue you're generating. What I care about is the profit margin. And I also don't care about if you sell out a retreat. Like, I think that that is really buzzworthy. And everyone's like, oh, I have a sold out retreat. I have a sold out retreat. It's like, okay, but how much did you make from it? And like, I hosted a retreat once that only sold at 60% capacity, but even still, I made $17,000 from that retreat in profit. And that was after I paid myself as a facilitator. So, and $15,000 in like the grand scheme of what I typically profit per retreat is low, but even still, like $17,000 is significantly more than what most people are making in the retreat industry. And of course, there are those hosts who have been doing this for years and they're easily making 25, 50, $75,000 per retreat on repeat. And that's brilliant. That's what I want for everybody. But what I'm really on a mission to do is to up level the entire industry and to up level it to a point where not only are we known for incredible transformations, but we're also known for, and this is also a really amazing way to be paid abundantly.
Mm, yes, I am here with you, like 100%. It's so so important, and retreats are
Mhm.
not going anywhere. Like really, like the industry is growing, the wellness industry, it's growing, like transformational space is growing. Like they're not going in anywhere. It's the perfect time to actually jump on this boat. Like,
And people right now are purchasing travel and also luxury vehicles. That's an interesting fact. More at higher rates than they have in like the past decade.
wow.
So, yeah, luxury travel and luxury automobiles, for whatever reason, whatever that connection is on the rise. I learned that from a friend. I'll just give a shout out to her, Leanne Heil, who is a consumer buying trends expert. And she constantly does trainings to keep you up with like consumer buying trends. And that is the most recent trend that she taught us. And I was like, oh my goodness, even more reason for retreat hosts to up level their prices.
Yeah. And I also want to say that, like, as you mentioned, like, there's retreats for all these different areas, but also there's like the clientele that wants to go to retreats, but they don't want to go into this deep, deep transformation where they change their lives in one day. They want to maybe take these entry points into a space where they get to know themselves a little bit more, but they also get to experience the location, right? Like get to know the city. It's not no longer all about going and getting yourself secluded inside of a
Right.
house for 7 days or 20 days or however long it is. Like people are actually looking for retreats that include experiences outside of the retreat venue.
Oh yeah, so I speak French. I've been taking French privately 3 times per week for the past 6.5 years. And my French teacher is hosting her first ever. It was definitely inspired by me during a French lesson, I would say, because I was telling her on repeat, you have to do this, you have to do this. Do a French language immersion retreat. And she's doing one in October, and I'm going for a week just to immerse myself in the language and be forced to speak French. And we're doing all of these cultural excursions together. And that is not like a
Regular.
healing, like wellness retreat. I mean, it's going to be intense. By the time I'm done, my brain's probably going to be fried. I won't even know what language to speak in. But
Oh no,
like I said, you can do retreats for anything.
yeah, and immersing yourself in the language is so important because I took 2 years and a half of French and I can read French, but like I can only order my breakfast and maybe get myself out of trouble, but that's it, right?
Right.
Because
Mhm.
I've never really immersed myself into like beyond like holidays in France, right? I used
Yeah.
to travel a bunch to France, but like beyond those holidays, I never really like dove deep into the space where I actually had to
Yeah.
the language to, let's say,
Exactly.
survive. No? So
Yeah, yeah. Well, and I remember when she sent me, like the prices, because we were talking about it, and all of my classes with her are just conversational French. And we talk business a lot because she's a business owner. And she goes, "Do you mind looking at my prices?" I'm like, "No, please let me." And she sent the prices over, and immediately I was like, "This is way too inexpensive. You have to charge more. Where is your spreadsheet with all of your expenses?" She sent it over immediately. And I increased her prices significantly, and then guess what? I paid the higher price, and it wasn't even like, "Well, can you give me that original price?" I was like, "No, like, you cannot charge that. This is what you have to charge, and I am happy to pay that much because I know that this is how much you need to charge in order to pay yourself."
yeah, no, I like, and that's so great that you actually got to do that for her. And it's something that I love, when you actually have the profitability in your business, you can help people more because you have the time, you have the energy to actually help others.
And you can offer scholarships. So if one of your hangups is, "I don't want to charge more because I want to be accessible to people who need my services but can't afford it." Well, when you're profitable, you can afford to offer scholarships. And I offer scholarships at every single one of my retreats,
Yeah.
every single one, but I'm still profiting significantly. And I'm able to do that because I have a profit.
Yeah. I really like this. I remember when I started this journey, I decided I wanted to interview like a bunch of people. So I interview 100 people who were hosting retreats. So because I don't do anything halfway, right? So I went and
Yeah, I guess not.
yeah. So I went and I interviewed like 100 people, and I asked all of them like a set of questions about how they were profiting, how they were selling, what was the biggest struggle, and I wanted to understand really what was happening in the market beyond my bubble, right? Like, and I have to tell you, like, I found so many people who were telling me, like, I'm like, okay, so at what point do you break even? And they were like, at 10. And I'm like, okay, so what's your capacity? 11. And I'm like, are you working for everyone else? Like, what's going on here?
Right,
Like,
right.
I just like, so
Right.
my interviews to find information turned out to be like coaching sessions because I'm like, you can't do this. And they're like,
No, no, you can't. It's so much work. Yeah, it's so much work. And as much as we love it, and as much as like I'm on the retreat high. So I'm about to host a retreat in Ireland. So all of my retreats that I host are for retreat professionals. And it's just anybody in the retreat industry comes and we work through like retreat business stuff and helping you make more money. So I'm hosting my next one in Ireland 2 weeks from Saturday. And I'm on that pre-retreat high, right? And then when you're there, you're on that high, and then it takes you a little bit to come off of it. But when you come off of it, it's like, wow, that was a lot of work. Cause you have to look back to like the moment you decide, I'm going to host a retreat and this is where I'm going to do it and this is when it's going to be. It's like 6 to 12 months worth of work. Now, for me, it doesn't take as long, as many hours because my retreats are replicable. But even still, the energy behind the marketing, getting on calls with people to talk about the retreat and inviting them to come, like there's a lot of work involved. And so to not get paid, and then, I had this thought of, if your sole job is hosting retreats and you were to give your job to somebody else and you were going to pay somebody to do your job in your place, how much would they require that you pay them in order to take over that job? And in most cases, it's a minimum $100,000. Like, people aren't going to work full time and travel significantly and be away from their families and everything else that's involved when you have to travel away from home for less than $100,000 a year. And so, okay, so now if I have to pay myself $100,000 and I'm going to host 4 retreats a year, that means at minimum, I have to pay myself $25,000 per retreat. Otherwise, this isn't a job. I'm volunteering.
It's a hobby.
Right, it's a hobby, and you would never accept this position for somebody else doing the work that you're doing as their employee and getting paid what you're currently paying yourself.
Yeah. No,
You would never.
I know. And it's crazy, but it's because like people tend to like, because when you're in the digital kind of entrepreneurial space, like there has to be a shift, right? Between like kind of like living the freelancer life towards becoming a business owner.
Mhm.
Right. And it's something that if you're building a business that could be sold, right, at some point, then what would you show for numbers for that person who's coming, right? Like my family owns a retreat center in Mexico, and uh, it's called Habitas. It's this brand of hotels. They came and they said like, well, we want to buy you out. And then we had to go through the numbers and see if it was
Right,
like a thing that actually made sense to sell the property and sell like this everything and the brand, right? Because
right,
it has a brand that has been built for a few years. If you don't have those and you don't have a business that works like that, then you cannot even tell if it's a good offer. You might be like, oh, this looks very shiny.
right,
And actually, after
right.
we looked at them numbers, we're like, no, this sale
Mm-mm.
does not make sense.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I owned a Pilates and yoga studio for 9 years, and I sold it for 40 times my original investment. And I sold it for so much because it was priced for profitability. It was at max profit margins. And so yeah, I actually now help businesses prep to sell. And I always tell my clients that even if you have zero plans on selling, you still need to build a sellable business because a sellable business is a profitable business. And either you're going to continue to operate it and rake in the profits, or you're going to sell it to somebody else. And the only reason somebody is going to want to buy your business is because it's already profitable.
Yeah. Yeah, no, like 100%. And if we start shifting that mindset in our space, right, for everyone who's listening, you start shifting that mindset into really creating it as a business, not as an additional thing inside of
Right,
your coaching program,
right.
right? Not as an added bonus or something nice because I want to travel and I want my trip to be paid by the retreat. Everything has to shift.
Yeah, and there is nothing wrong with adding retreats into the ecosystem of an existing business. I help business owners do that all the time. It's a fantastic additional revenue stream, but it's just that. It's an additional revenue stream. It's an additional income stream. So the amount of time that you're going to dedicate to these retreats inside your business, if you're going to do that, remember that that time you're dedicating, you're taking away that time from another service or offer that you already sell. So if another service or offer that you already sell is profitable and paying you and making money, and now you're adding retreats in just to get paid to travel, it's actually going to deplete your profits because it's taking your time, energy, and focus away from the thing that in your business that is actually profitable and paying you. So if you're going to add retreats in, they have to act as an additional revenue stream. Otherwise, they're not worth it. I mean,
Yes.
I hate to say it like that because I love retreats, but if you're going to integrate them into the ecosystem of your business, you need to generate income from it.
My God, yes. No, totally. Like I'm fully on board with you. Like let's think about it in a way, like as an example for all of you who are listening, right? Like in this case, usually the average industry average, right, for retreats profit is between 10 to 15,000, right? And I'm like, okay, so let's take the number of like $12,000 as an average for this. And if
Mhm.
you are spending 6 months promoting your retreat, that means you're actually making $2,000 per month. And if you're promoting it for a year, you're making $1,000 a month. me personally, if I were to do that, I'd rather off go get myself a client that will pay me $10,000 in one call.
Exactly. Exactly. So I'm actually pulling up the calculator to do math because, as I said, I'm a math nerd and this is what I do. But it has been reported that the average amount of hours required for first time host, okay, so this is a first time host or newbie retreat host, is 200 hours.
Hmm.
Okay, so if you make profit $12,000, that's it, and you dedicate 200 hours to it, you only paid yourself $60 an hour. And there is no service in any of my businesses, and I currently own 3 that is valued at $60 per hour. Now, for a lot of people, $60 an hour might sound great if you're working 40 hours per week full time. Like, okay, that might sound like reasonable to some people, but for the majority of your listeners, they're entrepreneurs. This is, $60 an hour isn't going to cut it.
Yeah, no, it's not. I know how much work there is behind hosting retreats. Like just creating and crafting the idea itself, like finding the venue, dealing with like vendors and like
Yeah.
seeing does this place work, thinking about your cancellation policies, like even just the planning phase, right? Like when I used to host events, I hosted, for example, like 1,001 Arabian Nights in front of the Giza pyramids for like 50 people.
Oh
You
my
know how many,
goodness.
you know how many hours I spent just getting the
Yeah.
permit to lit up the pyramids was
Yeah.
25 hours of work with the government.
Mhm. Well, and then this is also not that I have to pitch this, but this is why people need to hire a retreat coordinator, especially if it's your first time or you want to host a retreat in a location where you've never been. You want to hire a coordinator to do these logistical things for you. And then you just, whatever that expense is, you bake that into your pricing for your retreats that you immediately recover that expense. But yeah, don't do a retreat without a coordinator. That's unnecessary.
Yeah, why do we want to give ourselves hardship, right? Like I know usually as women also, like, and I know I have a bunch of like followers who are men, but like as women we tend to like give ourselves extra work.
Right.
like like we feel like if the to-do list is like super long, then it means we're being busy and we're being productive, and that's further along from the truth than anything else.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. So, like, it's another reason why, if it's okay to mention it, I created my membership. So, my membership is a network, a global network for retreat professionals, not just hosts, anyone. Like, there are chefs and photographers and wine and spirits vendors, and like literally anyone in the retreat industry can become a member and join this network. And not only do we retreat together, that's our community building, and we do have like resources for business development and coaching and all of that. But the most valuable piece is the network. It's the connection with other retreat pros who it's like, oh, you own this venue? I would love to host my retreat there. Or, oh, you're a workshop presenter? I would love for you to present. Oh, you're a photographer? Can you be the photographer at my retreat? And, it's just this like amazing network of like trusted vendors, trusted industry professionals, because we all know, like, we've shown up to a venue before and it doesn't match the pictures online. And we didn't know that we needed to go scope out the venue, or a photographer came highly recommended and we get the pictures back and we're like, not great. Or a chef, even like, God, the food at a retreat can make it or break it. So, one of my tips is the 2 most important things you have to invest in is the venue and the food.
Yeah.
Like hands down. If you're going to spend a bunch of money on anything, you need to invest in those 2, because a bad venue and bad food can like destroy a retreat.
Yeah, I have another episode with Brady Hendlin, and he does retreats in yachts. And he was saying that one time they showed up and there was no boat. Yeah, The yachts did not show up.
Oh my
So he
goodness.
created a company to actually have a bunch of
Have the
yachts on the
yachts.
list, so he would
Uh-huh.
never have to go through that trouble again.
Oh my goodness. Well, yeah. I mean, could you imagine hosting it on a yacht and showing up and it's not there?
Yeah. Like, what do you do, right? Like, how do you fix it? And he managed to fix it because he knew what to do and everything. But like, that's a huge problem. And that happens when you work with people that you don't know.
I know, I know. Yeah, yeah. Well, what I love about my membership, not like I'm trying to pitch my membership right now, but we're talking about it,
So
is
your
like every
membership is very cool. Let's just say that.
okay, thank you. But everybody within it like utilizes each other. And so like one member came to my Switzerland retreat and just from that retreat booked $43,000 worth of contracts for her future retreats and services. It's and then one of our photographers, she was hired from that retreat, like 4 or 5 other retreats just by attending that one and becoming a member. It's crazy, and it's nice to have a safe place where like, I use the same chef. I fly him in from Sancerre, France, because I know him. He's great. He knows exactly what I want, exactly what I need. All I have to do is tell him the itinerary, and he's got everything planned. Like, I don't have to,
Yeah.
repeat it with a new chef every single time. So, yeah.
Yeah, and the quality of the food and everything that you're working with, right? Like I work with a chef, she's in New York and she lives some part-time in Mexico and she works with astrology. So actually like she will look at the stars and the sky and everything else and then she would like design the menu based on that. And then we go deeper than that and we're like, okay, so if we're working with like lucid dreaming, how do we actually cater that meal so it actually helps people have more lucid dreams?
Oh my goodness. So cool. I think, didn't you have Crystal, is it Crystal Thompson
Yeah.
on? Is it Thompson or Thomas?
Thompson.
Thompson on. So she does the astrocartography, and I've done astrocartography reading with her to help me decide where I'm going to host my retreats based on my chart.
Yeah, my next retreat is in Dominican Republic because of that.
Oh my goodness. That's
Yeah,
amazing. Okay, very cool. Yeah, I really like her. She's cool. I've told a bunch of my clients, I'm like, you have to get with Crystal to have your reading before you decide where you're going on retreat.
but because it's so true, you will see. Sometimes you choose a venue, like you're like everyone else. Let's say talk about in Mexico, Tulum is like one of the hot spots for retreats. So everyone is like, we should do a retreat there, and then people come later to me and they're like, Lainey, I had the worst experience in Tulum. And it's like everything was fine. But me personally, I went through
I
so
know.
many weird stuff. And I'm like,
Yep.
probably that's not the place where you're supposed to go. Or like I even teach inside of my programs to choose the location based also on the elements. Right. So if you're working a lot with emotions, you want to have water, but you don't want to have the ocean. You want to have a lake because that's going
Right.
to help you go through the process. Or if you're going very deep, mountains, or if you want to like a little bit chaotic, then a beach, right? So even,
Right.
like the intentionality.
Yeah, I love that. I actually haven't given any thought to that. I have to the astrocartography, and I know that like the most popular retreat destinations out there are Sedona, Tulum, Costa Rica, and Bali. I believe there's one other. Yeah, I can't
Italy is
remember it.
also on the like top.
Italy, okay, but those, like, locations do not inspire me at all. I have 0 interest in attending a retreat there or hosting a retreat there, and, like, I'm more called to Bordeaux, France, or Tanzania, or Iceland, or Australia, these really, like, exotic places, and I wanted to host one in Egypt, and Crystal was like, Egypt is not the place for you. You've got some like karmic trauma that you got to heal there. And it's cool for you to go on somebody else's retreat, but you are not meant to lead a retreat there. But like when I host them in France, like my France retreats are just like, before I even say the location and date, it's sold out because that's how much I love it. I'm actually going to France in 10 days.
Yeah. Yeah, it's also about your passion, right? And
Mhm.
like you will attract those people who love that. And they're
Yeah.
gonna be like, oh my gosh, she is so excited about that location, right? Like my next retreat is in like this small town in Mexico. And it's a very powerful land in the space of like the god that like the pyramid and the god is dedicated to women's fertility, and it's a town that when the Aztecs were there where all the priestesses and princesses used to live, and so it's super deep for women healing and deep work. And I love that land because it has like changed my life. That the moment I said like, and I haven't even announced this retreat publicly, it's just
People are already like, I want in, I want in.
yeah, it's just
I
right now
know.
like for my inner circle, and people are like, oh
Yeah.
my gosh, lady, I need to go to that place. Like I don't know why, but I have to be there. Forget about like what the retreat is about.
Right.
No one
Right.
cares.
Exactly. Exactly. So like I love how we have, all this energy around the location and the excitement and all of that. And I also just want people to have this same type of energy and excitement from the money that they're gonna make from it. Like, I always circle back to that. I always circle
Yeah.
back to the money that you're going to make and how you're going to compensate yourself more than fairly, abundantly for this incredible work that you are sharing with the world.
And I think there's a lot of people out there teaching how to do retreats, and it's becoming super a lot more popular. And like a lot of like breathwork
Yeah.
coaches are now teaching you how to do retreats because they hosted a bunch. And
Right.
fine, whatever. There's like a path for everyone. Like I don't really truly believe in competition. Like
Right.
people who show up and work with me, it's because they like my energy and they like the way I
Yeah.
teach. And that's it. Like they don't even think about anyone else. Right. And there's this space, but the big thing that I see everywhere is that actually they teach you, like they tell you you should like focus on this profit, but they don't tell you you need to pay yourself. They don't tell you that if one day you decide you want to take a sabbatical, you would need to hire someone to keep running your
Mhm.
business. And if not, you're making your business solely dependent on you.
Oh, yes, yes, and if it's dependent on you, it's not sellable, even if you don't have plans to sell, like, it's not sustainable is really the word, and so I always say profit, but the profit that you make from a retreat, it's assumed that that is profit after you've paid yourself, because you have to pay yourself as the facilitator, so for a week-long retreat, the least I allow my clients to bake into their pricing as a host compensation is $5,000 minimum. Like I'm not even going to work with you if you are unwilling to at least pay yourself $5,000 for the week on retreat. Okay. Now that doesn't compensate you for everything else.
That's just
This
for
is
being
why
there.
that's just being there. That's just for the week of like doing the work and putting in the hours of facilitating the retreat. Minimum 5,000. And then above that, I want you to take home a profit of at least $25,000 at least. And if it's less than $25,000, you really have to ask yourself, is it even worth it? All the energy and time for the 6 to 12 months leading up to it. And
I would say
25 is the
break,
bare minimum.
yeah, I would say you need to break the numbers, right? And see how many months,
Yeah.
how many hours is this really like worth it for me? Or am I better off launching group online programs? It's fair. Like
Right.
okay, there's like, everyone has to find their own framework for their business.
Mhm.
It's fine if
Exactly.
you say, you know what, right now I'm not willing to charge or pay myself 5,000 and then make 25,000 profit. That feels very far-fetched with me for me. And you say, hey, right now it's not the best place.
Yeah.
And I'd rather just like build my other business. So when I'm ready to charge this, then I
Right.
can just go full in. Then
Right.
just
And listen,
do things halfway.
and there are a ton of people out there who are okay not making any money and like they're just not my people. And I also feel like it does a major disservice to the rest of the industry that is actually making and earning a living through retreats. And I do feel like those retreats that are only charging like $1,200 for 10 nights in Bali, and the host isn't making anything and just getting paid to travel. it's really a disservice to everybody else in the industry who is a professional and actually making it their profession and their career. And as a whole, our industry needs to up level. We need to up level our prices and we need to up level our profits to match the level of service and transformation and experience that we are providing. And there's a huge disconnect right now. Amazing retreats, amazing, life changing retreats at like rock bottom Walmart pricing. And it doesn't match, you
Yes.
know?
Like yesterday I was talking to my girls in my group program, and I was telling them, like, if you were to host a retreat where you either help people uncouple very friendly or not get divorced, how much, like, think about it, not in the place of like the pricing or like what's the average out there in like the market, or like forget about that. I don't care about how much people are like charging out there. Like, think about how much money would someone actually pay a lawyer to get divorced.
50,000 at least. I
Think,
mean,
yeah.
it's
And then
crazy expensive.
add therapists for the kids, and add like the expenses of actually have two households.
Right.
If they actually save their marriage, and I've been to couples retreats where people have saved their marriages inside of the retreat, right? So it's not like I'm not
Yeah.
making this up, it's like a reality, it happens. Like, the guy came to this retreat and he was like, why are you here? He's like, this is cheaper than divorce. And they're still together and they're happy, right? So it is a possibility. It
Yeah.
can happen. How much is actually this retreat worth? Is it actually worth the venue, the food, if it's in a
Right.
beautiful location or not so beautiful location, or is it about the big result that you're gonna get afterwards? The
It's
same.
about exactly. It's not just the cost of the accommodations and the food and every like that piece, but the most valuable piece of the experience is what they're getting from you that cannot have a price tag attached to it.
Yeah,
Yeah. So, well, we are just preaching, sister.
I love it. I knew, like, I was like, oh my gosh, she has to come to the podcast. I'm like, people are gonna love this, and more people are gonna get this message, because it's not just me in my podcast telling people, please,
Please, please. No, well, they're either gonna love it or they're gonna hate it, and that's just the common
that's
theme with,
okay.
like, my life, and it's fine, like, if this is not for you and we're not for you, it's totally cool, but if, like, what we're speaking to you and into you is inspiring and you're like, "Yes, yes, yes," like, you're in alignment with us, then, come along with us.
Yeah,
Like, come along on this up level.
yes, let's up level this industry. Like,
Yay. Yay.
oh my gosh, this is so amazing. Is there anything else that you want to add on?
No, I just think that we want to offer. I do have a free download for everybody. I think you have the link and you'll share it somehow. But I have my top 5 tips for hosting profitable retreats. That is a free download. It is packed with all kinds of information that you can like literally take and use and implement. And then I invite everybody to become a member of luxury and business retreats. If you are a retreat pro who is ready to make serious money in this industry and to really join us in the mission of up leveling the industry, I invite you to join. So, probably the best way to get in touch with me is either on Instagram, or I think you have a link to my
Yeah,
website that you can share, and we can chat about the membership and if it is the right network for you to join.
that's amazing. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for this. I think it's so important. And like, also don't forget to buy her book. I'll drop the
Oh,
link
right.
over there.
Oh,
Because
right. Thank you. My book here, because this is my book. Give yourself a raise.
I think this is like, if you're even not so sure about like, everything, and you're like, oh my God, like, oh, da, 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 go through the book as well. Like, it's such a powerful tool. Like, I told you, I read it, I gifted to a friend. Like, it's gonna go to so many places, because it's so important for you to start stepping, or just go and step into
Mhm.
really realizing what you're meant to charge, and that you get to create the life that you desire. And there's
Yes.
like, it's your choice. And there is like limitless possibilities.
It totally is true. It's true. Well, I wrote a book on it, so.
Erin really knows her stuff. So thank you so much for being here. Everyone who's listening, you'll find all the links in the caption below. So don't miss on those, right? So definitely if you are in the space of like hosting retreats and or just even you're giving yourself a raise, like she also has her company pricing overhaul. That's also amazing. So stay in touch with her. I'm sure there's going to be beautiful things coming along from you getting to know also other people in the space who are super successful hosting retreats and making it a business. The more you see them, right, energetically also, like you're going to allow yourself to believe that that's actually your reality now. So thank you
Exactly.
so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
All right. Wow, what a great episode. If you like our podcast, How to Run Profitable Retreats, leave us a review and share it with a friend. And do you want to create a six-figure retreat business? I invite you to join my upcoming masterclass, Epic Retreats Live, where you will learn my system to create transformational and profitable retreats. All the details are in the caption. And if you're ready to start your journey today, book a call with me to find out what would be the best next steps. See you next week.